Quiet on set.
Rolling. Action. Hello.
Hello.
So I am Sebastian.
And I'm Caitlin.
And today, as promised, we're going to start with our first episode in the play and movies review. Today's play, Paradise by Kae Tempest. The main three characters were Odysseus, which is Anastasia Hill, Neoptolemus, which is Gloria Oviano, and Philoctetes, which is Leslie Sharp. And then we move on to the director, which was Ian Rickson, and then the set and costume designer, which was Ray Smith.
And the writer was, of course, Kae Tempest.
The famous Kae Tempest.
Mm-hmm. So this play, it was an interesting play to start off with because it actually is based off of the play called Philoctetes by Sophocles, which is basically like this Greek guy in the Greek ages who wrote this play written around the time when the Iliad was written. But apparently it took place before the Trojan Horse, if anyone knows any Greek history. But so a little bit about what the play was actually about. We're not going to spoil what happened directly, but we're going to give you a gist of what sort of happened. So according to Wikipedia, for a specific detailed analysis on what this play was about, it describes the attempt by Neoptolemus and Odysseus to bring the disabled Philoctetes, the master archer, back to Troy from the island of Lemnos. So the entire play takes place all in one day and all on this one trip Odysseus and Neoptolemus take to go see Philoctetes. And obviously there's a lot that does happen, and I'm not going to tell you everything, but I guess you could say they made it work for the time period. Since it was only one day, there was a chance that it could get boring, but I think they did pretty good on keeping us still entertained, even though we knew that this was only going to happen during the course of one single 24-hour period.
Definitely. So I was really interested seeing how they try to make this play, which takes place so long ago, come and stay in the modern era, because they made a lot of references to Starbucks and whatnot, and it stayed pretty interesting throughout. And I was actually remembering just now, I had my one of my theater professors right next to me, and I was asking her how accurate was this going to be compared to Philoctetes, the original play, and she definitely said that it was not going to be any accurate at all, which I did see some accuracy in it, but definitely a different take on the original play. So this play took place in the National Theater. It was founded in 1962 and is really famous specifically for being a round shape theater. So it's really hard for the actors to do any stage combat per se, because you have people seeing you from all different angles. But this is the kind of round shape theater places that many people will use back then, where the actual Philoctetes play was taking place originally. So the national...
Because theaters back then were sort of shaped like how Colosseums were, where everyone sort of circled around it. So it was definitely nice to see them still use that sort of shape in order to do the play.
So I definitely love the National, and I think if I have the opportunity to go back and see a different play at the National, I definitely would. So what do you think about the set design in Paradise?
Yeah, so the whole play, like I said, takes place in a single day on this island of Lemnos, and throughout the play there's also this chorus sort of ensemble, I guess you could call narrators. There's a whole group of older women, and they have this sort of camp sort of set up, and that is in the script, just for them to have this sort of camp. But it was really interesting the way that they set it up, because they used not only tents that you would most definitely find at a camping store, but they also incorporated a lot of little knickknacks, even a ceremonial temple sort of space in a random corner. So you could tell that these women have been established there, and that they have like their own sort of practices to get through the day. They had their own cooking station and everything. The stage itself was sort of, you could see like on the one end was sort of like a beach sandy texture. The other end was more like dry, rocky ground. And there's many different exits, so actors could like get off of the stage to go get prepared for the next scene pretty easily. So I thought it was really interesting, especially for the first time I've ever really seen like a professional production, because up until this point I've only ever seen high school productions, and you're sort of used to sitting far back with just like a rectangular like stage, but seeing like a circular one where you're up at different angles is really interesting. Overall, I really liked how
Something
it was set
I
up.
really love from it is that depending on where you were sitting at, you had a different experience to
Yeah.
it. Because we were farther away from where the main characters will always be at, but we're right. It felt like we were almost standing with where the chorus was standing in, and we actually had this one tent like hand reach from us,
Yeah.
where one of the ladies from the chorus would just be living in. So it was a really interesting experience to see the play from their point of view, and I bet it will be really different to see it from the opposite side or on a different side of the National Theater. So I really enjoyed that experience, and I feel like it is worth it to think about the different opportunities that you can have, making different people see different things if you're making a play over there. And I do think that they did it successfully for the most part. Again, it's really hard to do something like realistic combat in there, but other stuff can really make you think, like the different point of views, and how you see what's happening on stage.
Definitely, yeah. So now we're gonna go into our final ratings of it. We sort of broke it down to different categories. So there's set, how we felt about it, 1 out of 5 clapboards, and then story, and then will we see it again? So I'm gonna start with set. I will give the set a 4 out of 5. That was really good.
I definitely love the set design. It's one of my favorite things from it, and I will give it also a 4 out of 5 clapping words.
So story, I I really enjoyed it while I was watching it, but I think thinking back to it, I enjoyed other plays more. Like there was something about it where I was just like, maybe this isn't the most entertaining for me, or maybe, how they try to modernize the play kind of I wasn't exactly thrilled about at some different points. And I really don't blame Kay for that. I think we can agree we don't blame Kay for us not really liking the story as much, because, this was originally written by Sophocles, which is, from a very long time ago. So personally, I would give the story about a 3.
I think it's definitely really like almost about to touch success in making this an amazing play, an amazing take on Sophocles' story. But there is something in this story that just doesn't connect with me fully, and just thinking back at it, it didn't fulfill my need for what was about to happen in this story. Just so you know, this play is so originally they would just have all men taking on the characters, even of women. And this play was completely done only with women identifying people, and it was really interesting from that perspective. But there's just something that I don't know if it was the actors of the writing itself, but the story didn't completely connect with me that day. So because of that, I'll give it a 3 out of 5 clapping boards as well for this story.
So will I see it again? I really enjoyed the experience of watching it for the first time, but I feel like with the conversations we've had in class and the way that I look at it now, I think I would choose to not see it again, as to sort of not ruin the initial joy that I had while watching it the first time. Just for reference, this play did stop its running on September 11th, 2021. I do not know when it's going to come back, but if it does come back later on, maybe I'll change my mind. But as of right now, I personally would not attempt to go. I would probably give it like a 2 out of 5.
For me, I'm quite open at seeing it again because I'm interested in seeing how this play can take place in a different kind of set, in a more natural setting, maybe a normal stage with normal points of view. Maybe you can make it all more realistic, or maybe trying to, instead of having a set that it's something that you cannot change, maybe something that you can definitely move around and go to different places and whatnot. Maybe we'll make it more interesting. And because of that, and because of the possibilities of adjusting this to a different setting, I will give it a 3 out of 5. And will I see it again? So overall, for the final rating, combining these three different ones, the overall rating for this play from us is gonna be a 3.2 out of 5 clapping boards. How do you feel about that?
There's probability for it, yeah. That's how we came to this conclusion by combining up all of our scores. I'd say that that's pretty accurate. I know other people in our class hated it or loved it more than we did.
Yeah.
But I think for a starter play with very little context as what was supposed to be happening, I think it did pretty good. It could have been more entertained.
Yeah, as of this point, I have not seen any more of Kae Tempest's work, but I'm definitely open to look what they have to offer and what they've done in the past with different plays. And I think I definitely want to look more into their work, and I don't know, I need more from them.
Yeah.
I need to see something else that actually makes me more happy than Paradise.
By what I've seen, Kay has a great reputation. Apparently some really great work.
Yeah,
so.
everyone knows them, so.
Yeah. I guess we'll see if we can find another production of one of their works in the near future.
It was really weird because leaving the National, everyone was like, oh, that was so amazing, I love that. And everything I heard was really, really good comments. And I was there and I was like, I mean, it was good, but it wasn't the best. Mind you, this was the first play that we saw here. So we didn't really have a point of reference. And just talking to other people in class, we came to the realization that it could have been better than it was, but it's so close to reaching success that I believe in it. I really do.
Oh yeah, definitely not a bad story to tell. And I'm sure if we had any sort of reference point, but we would have maybe got it more. But
definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming today to this shorter episode. We're gonna come back with another one next week. Hope you like it. And actually, we have a really quick surprise that might happen in a couple of weeks. One of the plays that we saw, we actually met with the director, and she agreed to come to our podcast and talk to us a little bit more about...
At some point,
about her play. So hopefully we'll be able to do that.
We won't say who it is, but if it does work out, we'll definitely let you guys know. Hopefully that'll be a really cool conversation.
Definitely. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
And
cut.
cut.